And somewhere in the world, I'll bet there's a crazed dictator who's longing to revive the idea.
As well as using sound as a weapon, Nazi engineers conducted tests with guns that fired air.
And the idea was that inside it, you'd fuel it with hydrogen and oxygen, which would cause a tremendous explosion, and out would come a plug of air, an invisible plug of compressed air that could bring down an aircraft flying above.
The wind gun was used just once, when the Nazis tried unsuccessfully to defend a bridge on the Elbe River. No planes were shot down, and the weapon was abandoned. None of these extraordinary weapons survive today. But in California, an entertainment group have painstakingly recreated some weird Nazi guns from World War II for their mechanization display. The idea is to give audiences a feel for what it was like in war.
To feel a concussion of something like that hitting you, and the fire and the explosions and the smell of diesel and you know, dirt being kicked up and all that is the closest, you know, that you're ever going to get to actually being in a battle without being there.
In this show, the guns are harmless. They make a lot of noise and bring down model houses. But they were built using the same principles as the Nazis over 60 years ago.
Of course, the original designs were the designs that the Germans made in World War II. They're the people, they're the granddaddies of all this kind of work with vortex guns and sound weapons and things like that.
This is a scaled-down vortex gun or cannon. The original German version was around 20 times bigger. The German gun was designed to create a vortex or whirlwind strong enough to rip the wings from an aircraft. This cannon, although much smaller, works on similar principles. An explosive charge is placed inside the cannon. Upon ignition, an invisible vortex is fired into the air at 100 miles an hour.
Well,
this one is harmless enough. It makes a lot of noise and can shatter a pane of glass.
it did?
But the Germans not only had a much bigger gun, they added a special ingredient, powdered coal dust, which, when mixed with the exploding vortex, made it far more powerful.
It was known for centuries that powders in air will explode. Flour in a flour mill can suddenly explode. Coal dust, coal powder in a mine can suddenly explode. And it was an Austrian invention during the war to try and harness this process to create a vortex gun.
The reaction of the coal dust with air made the vortex bigger and bigger until it became the size of a small whirlwind.
The dust would continue burning, fueling the spiral as it goes, and, in theory at least, setting off an enormous, great whirlwind that was enough to bring down a plane.
Like the sound gun and the wind gun, the vortex gun never quite made it on the battlefield. The idea was truly extraordinary, but could it have worked? Could it have ever brought down a plane?
If the planes had cooperated, yeah. I mean, from what they knew and what they were able to do, it's pretty amazing that they built these things and they got the effects they did out of them. But I think from a practical standpoint, it would have been a lucky shot, the proverbial lucky shot.